The man who once kept a daily journal with Barbra Streisand is now facing his toughest challenge yet. James Brolin, who proposed 3 times before she said yes, recently told producers he can't commit right now. With mounting medical bills, their separate bank accounts are finally merging. After their 25th anniversary, the couple confronts their biggest trial. Insiders say Brolin even turned down a $2 million role to stay home. His next chapter could be the most heartbreaking. Born Craig Kenneth Bruderlin on July 18, 1940, during a brutal LA heatwave, James was raised by a strict father who enforced daily chores from age 4. His mother, a former film extra, kept her past hidden to keep him focused on school. Quiet and asthmatic, Craig spent 45 days in the hospital at 7 but showed mechanical skill early, rebuilding his father's watch at 9. At 15, after watching East of Eden, Craig became obsessed with James Dean. For 6 months, he secretly biked 17 miles to Griffith Park to imitate Dean's walk and voice. He saved money to buy a camera and filmed 24 silent reenactments. When Dean died, Craig was silent for 11 days. His drama teacher sent one of his films to UCLA, winning praise from Dean's director Nicholas Ray, sealing Craig's dream to act. In 1960, the studio forced him to change his name to James Brolin because Bruderlin sounded too German. His father stopped speaking to him, and for months, Brolin relied on sleeping pills. Ironically, the studio later said he acted too much like Dean. In 1966, he had small roles on Batman, even playing 3 different parts without anyone noticing. Homeless at the time, he lived in a '58 Chevy and showered at Fox Studios. In 1967, his career hit a low with the Cape Town affair. Despite his warnings, the film flopped, and he was fired while visiting his hospitalized mother. Fox demanded he return $1,100 in salary, leaving him broke and unemployed for 18 months. After struggling for work, Brolin became a mechanic in Van Nuys, fixing cars for clients unaware he was once a rising star. Fate intervened when a Universal executive brought his car in, and was impressed by Brolin's dedication. That led to a screen test and the role that changed everything. Dr. Stephen Kiley on Marcus Welby, MD, 1969-1976. Playing a young motorcycle-riding doctor alongside an older partner, Brolin won an Emmy in 1970 and 2 Golden Globes. The show tackled tough topics like cancer, depression, and Alzheimer's, even sparking protests over an episode on homosexuality. Brolin stayed committed to meaningful storytelling. In 1972, he took a darker turn in Skyjacked, playing a disturbed Vietnam vet who hijacks a plane opposite Charlton Heston. Critics praised his intense performance, proving he could break free from his doctor image. Then came Westworld, 1973, a sci-fi hit featuring early digital effects. Brolin's confident character dies halfway through in a shocking twist that ramped up the film's tension. In 1979, he starred in the Amityville Horror as George Lutz, a man unraveling under supernatural pressure. Initially skeptical, Brolin was convinced after a creepy experience reading the script. The film earned over $80 million, capturing late 70s fears of financial and family collapse. Behind the scenes, he clashed with co-star Margot Kidder, but the tension added to the story's realism. In 1985, Brolin showed his comedic side with a cameo in Pee-wee's Big Adventure as a suave secret agent, a playful nod to his near-James Bond role. At the same time, he starred in the TV series Hotel for 5 years, playing polished manager Peter McDermott. The role earned him 2 Golden Globe nominations and introduced him to future wife Jan Smithers during a tough divorce. Meanwhile, Barbra Streisand was born in Brooklyn on April 24, 1942. Her parents, Diana and Emmanuel, struggled financially on his $4,200 yearly teacher's salary. At just 15 months old, Barbra's father died from a seizure, leaving the family with only $250 savings and forcing them to move in with her grandparents. Barbra never knew her father, but later found a note he left in her baby book. "I have a feeling this one is going to be special." After her mother remarried in 1949, Barbra gained a half-sister but faced a harsh stepfather who once vowed to break her spirit. By 16, Barbra left home with nowhere to go and no money. For 18 months, she slept wherever she could, on friends' couches, old cots, even fire escapes in summer. She had one taped-up suitcase with 3 outfits, 2 pairs of shoes, and 12 records. Despite it all, she kept perfect attendance, studying in libraries and diners while working part-time for 75 cents an hour. She visited her mother twice weekly for dinner, hiding her homelessness. Barbra wore the same coat for 3 years, repairing and even dyeing it with leftover costume supplies. By 1960, she worked as a theater usher, making just over $46 a week, watching The Sound of Music over 100 times and practicing singing alone before work. One night, a stage manager overheard her and mistook her for an understudy. She boldly sang on the spot for 3 casting directors and, 2 days later, performed in a nightclub for $108, double her usual pay. Though fired for breaking rules, Barbra had taken her first real step into show business. With no formal training, she learned to sing by testing echoes in stairwells and subways, drawing small crowds. A friend recorded her voice on an old reel-to-reel. When played back, executives were stunned, some refusing to believe such talent came from a teenager. That raw tape eventually ended up in the Library of Congress. In September 1960, at 18, Barbra stepped onto a nightclub stage in a $6 thrift shop dress and mismatched earrings. Despite 7 rejections that month and harsh comments on her looks, she sang "Cry Me a River" and a humorous "Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf." The crowd erupted, judges gave perfect scores, and a critic said her nose might become as iconic as her voice. Within 2 months, she had 23 paid gigs, proving talent doesn't need to fit conventional beauty standards. In 1961, she dropped the second A from her name to stand out, kept her Brooklyn accent, and refused surgery or to change her quirky style, even performing to a crowd of 7 with full energy. In 1962, she landed the role of Miss Marmalstein in I Can Get It For You Wholesale, fighting to keep a weird scene that became a hit. Critics called her the funniest thing on Broadway since Fanny Brice, and her pay rose from $175 a week through 5 renegotiations. In 1963, Barbra's debut album sold 150,000 copies in a month, far beyond Columbia Records' modest 10,000 print plan. It had no hits, just show tunes she picked, and a simple black and white cover against marketing advice. The album won Album of the Year at the Grammys, beating Frank Sinatra and sparking controversy. In 1964, Barbra took on Funny Girl as Fanny Brice, despite backlash for being too Brooklyn and not pretty enough. Investors pulled out, but she triumphed, performing the role 867 times, even singing through pneumonia and a sprinkler soaking her mid-scene. London critics were tough at first, but ticket demand soon soared. By 1965, she signed a $5 million TV deal with CBS for 10 specials, giving her full creative control, no commercials interrupting her songs. Her first special, My Name is Barbra, started with her singing alone in the dark, terrifying executives but captivating 71% of viewers. She won 5 Emmys and edited the show herself. In 1968, Barbra made a dazzling film debut as Fanny Brice in Funny Girl, which became the top-grossing U.S. movie that year. She won the Best Actress Oscar, tying with Katharine Hepburn, the only tie ever in that category. The film earned 8 Oscar nods and cemented her movie star status. Funny Girl later became a national treasure preserved by the Library of Congress. Barbra didn't stop at musicals. In 1972, she starred in What's Up, Doc?, a wild comedy with Ryan O'Neal. Though she initially disliked it and predicted failure, rewrites made her character funnier, and the film became a huge hit, the 3rd biggest of the year. Barbra earned $500,000, more than her co-star, and won praise for her comedic chops. The next year, she starred opposite Robert Redford in The Way We Were, a politically charged romance that made $50 million on a $5 million budget. It earned her another Oscar nomination, a top Italian film award, and the title song became a massive hit, selling over 2 million copies. Before becoming a music and film icon, Barbra Streisand faced rejection for her looks and uniqueness, but never gave up. By 1962, she wowed Broadway with I Can Get It For You Wholesale, and her debut album outsold stars like Frank Sinatra, winning a Grammy. Despite battling critics, a tough family past, and Hollywood biases, she broke barriers by starring in A Star Is Born, co-writing the Oscar-winning song Evergreen and directing Yentl. Her personal life had struggles too, including a rocky first marriage, but a 1996 blind date with James Brolin sparked a lasting partnership built on honesty and respect. Together, they navigate Hollywood's pressures with their own rules, showing love thrives amid chaos. Beyond entertainment, Barbra's heart health campaign has saved lives, and her 2023 memoir reveals the woman behind the legend. Now in their 80s, they continue working, proving resilience, reinvention, and finding love when least expected. Please subscribe to our channel for more videos, and don't forget to press the bell icon.